to do a video on adding and subtracting integers using a number line, and I don't particularly like using a number line for integers, but I know that some people do, so I'm going to use it. One of the things I want you to notice is on this number line, I could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, but that would be kind of crazy because the numbers get really small. One of the other options I could do is I could just do 5, 10, 15, -5, -10, -15, and do it like that, which is always a possibility as well. And as a matter of fact, I think that's what I am going to do. I'm going to do 0 and 5 and -5. And that means that all these other ones in between are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, -1, -2, -3, -4. With integer number lines, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the very first number, and that's my starting place. But then I'm going to tell you how much we have to add. And by that, I'm going to show you what I mean. For the first one, it says 3. I'm going to start at positive 3, and I'm going to add 2 positives. Well, 2 positives would be this amount. So I have to actually add that to positive 3. When I do that, that gets us to 5. And that makes sense, because everybody knows that 3 plus 2 is 5. I wonder if there's an undo key. There is no undo key. That's unfortunate. So I might actually end up losing those, but that's fine. So my second one says 3, which is here, and I'm going to add 2 negatives. So now my 2 negatives are going there. So if I'm going to add that to my starting point, it's going to go to here, which is just a positive 1. And so here was 3, here was 1. I'm adding 2 negatives. When I do the next one, I'm going to start at 3, and I'm taking away 2 positives. Well, if I'm going to start at 3 and I'm going to take away 2 positives, I'm going to take away this one and this one, which puts me once again at positive 1. So you can see how I'm using the number line to kind of figure out where on earth I'm supposed to be going. And now this last one is 3, and I'm supposed to take away 2 negatives. Now, remember, I said 2 negatives are this. Well, if I can't take that away, so what's the opposite of taking away 2 negatives? It would be to add 2 positives. And so that gives me a positive 5. Let's move on to our green questions. Now I'm going to start at a -3, and this is going to be slightly different. So -1, -2, -3. So here's my -3. I'll just do that. And it says -3, add 2 positives. Well, remember, 2 positives would be like this. So from here, I'm going to go 2 positives, 1, 2, and that puts me at a -1. That's a little bit hard to see. Now, starting back at my -3, I'm going to add 2 negatives. Well, remember, 2 negatives was going in this direction. So if I add 2 negatives, it gets me to a -5. And that should make sense because I have 3 negatives. I'm adding 2 more negatives. So once again, it should logically make sense. All right, so now I'm going to do -3. And I'm going to take away 2 positives. Well, taking away 2 positives would tell us that I need to take away this. I need to take away that value. Well, since I'm going to take it away, it actually means that I'm going to be going the same distance, but different directions. And that gives me also to a -5. And my last one of this question says -3, take away 2 negatives. Well, 2 negatives would go this way, so if I'm going to take that away, it would actually go the other way, and that gives me a -1. I'm hoping this is starting to sink in a little bit. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the integer number line. I actually prefer using manipulatives instead, like number tiles, but that's fine. Some people like the number line. So I'm going to start at 2, because now I'm starting at my positive 2. I'm going to add 3 positives. Well, once again, 3 positives would be 1, 2, 3, which puts me at a positive 5. If I start at positive 2 and I'm adding 3 negatives, well, 3 negatives would be this much, but I'm going to add it to here. So really, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and that puts me at negative 1. When I have 2 positives and I take away 3 positives, well, if I only have 2 positives, I'm going to take away 3 positives. I take away 1 positive, I took away another positive, I took away my third positive, that puts me at negative 1 again. And then my last one for this problem set is to take away 3 negatives. Well, remember, 3 negatives would be putting me that way, but since I'm taking them away, that means I have to add 3 positives, and that gives me positive 5. Now, the last set of questions. And by the way, you might say, wow, Mr. Moore, 4, 8, 12, 16 questions. You're really putting us through the ringer today. Well, the reason why is because these are all the possible ways I can ask these questions. That's why. Negative 2, add 3 positives, all right? So I'm at negative 2, I'm going to add 3 positives. Well, here's where my 3 positives would be, but I have to start here. So 1, 2, 3, and that puts me at, that's 2, that's 3, positive 1. If I'm at negative 2, and I'm going to I'm going to add 3 negatives, well, 3 negatives would be 1 negative, 2 negatives, 3 negatives, be negative 5. You should know the answer to this one already. It's also going to be negative 5, but let's see why. If I'm at negative 2, and I want to take away 3 positives, well, 3 positives would be 1, 2, 3. It'd be this way, but I want to take it away, so really, it has to go that way. And that just becomes, once again, a negative 5. And then finally, if I'm at negative 2, and I'm supposed to take away my 3 negatives, well, here's my 3 negatives, but I want to take them away. That means I have to send them back the other way. 1, 2, 3, and that puts me at a positive 1. I hope this does help. Like I said, some people love number lines, and if it helps, use a vertical number line. I'm not one of them. I like using my tiles, but that's just me. So if this does help, good for you. Good luck in the future, and if you have any questions, please let me know.